We get to see an early preview of Microsoft's Flight Simulator running on the Xbox consoles, and we have more insight just to how much Xbox helped with Psychonauts 2. So Flight Simulator is out next week. It is one of the most anticipated games coming on to Xbox Game Pass for its graphical prowess, how realistic everything is going to look when you're flying through different areas, and just the overall showcase this game is going to be on how good games can look on the Xbox consoles. Now with this game, we know that even with the highest NPCs, like $3,000 PCs with the highest graphics card and great CPUs and everything like that, it is still very taxing on that platform. So you would think with the Xbox Series X and S being either a $500 or a $300 console, there would be no way that this game would be able to run, but it looks like it is running really well and it looks great. So this is an early preview from Windows Central, and we have the specs where we know it's running at 4K 30 FPS on the Series X and 1080p 30 FPS on this Series S, but for this type of game with how slow it is, the 30 FPS is more than adequate. And in terms of their 30 FPS performance, they're saying here that there hasn't been really any bad things happening. Like, it's been maintaining that 30 FPS with slight drops depending on where you're flying through. Like if you're flying through a city that is extremely populated with buildings and stuff like that, there will be the odd drop in frames. For example, flying through London, you will see a small performance drop because it's so densely populated. But these same locations that have that performance drop on the consoles are having performance drops on PC as well. So it seems like it is really just on par on how it's running on PC. Now, I think the coolest part about all this is that cloud technology, the Azure technology that they've been talking about, and we're getting a real first look of how well this could potentially work going throughout this generation. Yes, the Series X is a powerful console, but it pushes higher end PCs to their max, so it's not going to be able to run everything. But with that technology, there's going to be games that may not be able to run on the Series X or S at the high resolution that the developers wanted to, unless they utilize the cloud technology, and it seems like it is working very well here. In fact, even on the Series S, they say here that besides the drop in resolution, there are some points where they could easily pass the gameplay for the Xbox Series X, and that's on a $300 console. So to me, that's extremely exciting for the longevity of these consoles going forward, where even if a developer wants to create something that is going to be too big to be able to run on the current consoles that are out, they can utilize the Azure technology, and then we're going to get some just insane looking stuff. The only caveat, I guess, is you have to have a good internet connection, as they are using a stable gigabit connection when playing the game. So all in all, this isn't surprising. I mean, I was pretty confident that this game was going to look really good on the X and S. I didn't think that they were going to release it until everything was ready and they were able to utilize the Azure stuff and just make sure that it was running smoothly when it came out on to Xbox Game Pass, so everybody could experience it and really be in awe of Flight Simulator. It's going to be definitely a showcase game that you're going to want to show your friends just the power of the Xbox ecosystem, of the Xbox consoles, and what games can potentially look like with Flight Simulator. I'm really excited just to jump in and just see how amazing things look on a 4K display, just flying through some locations that I've never been to before, or maybe even flying over locations that I have been to, but I want to see what it's like when you're actually the pilot and flying through the area. And again, the most impressive thing is that you're getting a game that pushes $3,000 consoles to their max on a $300 or $500 console and is running beautifully. So there will be full reviews obviously before the game officially drops, or when the game officially drops on the 27th. But from this early preview, things are looking very good. Now jumping over here to Psychonauts 2, a game that has already gotten some early previews as well. People have been able to jump in, and the reaction so far has been extremely positive. So I'm super pumped for this game. I liked Psychonauts 1. I've been waiting for Psychonauts 2 to drop, so I'm going to be jumping into it right when it comes onto Game Pass in August. But the big story here is just how much Microsoft and Xbox have helped with creating a much bigger game with Psychonauts 2. So Psychonauts 1 came out on the original Xbox. Double Fine was not a part of Xbox at that time. They got purchased in 2019, and because of that purchase, Double Fine was able to get tons of resources, tons of money, and just able to have peace of mind that they could take their time in creating a game. It says here, Microsoft's 2019 purchase of Double Fine gave the studio's developers the peace of mind and added finances to make next month's Psychonauts 2 a bigger and possibly better game, its developers told Axios. So the backstory of Psychonauts 2 is that back in 2012, the creators of Minecraft wanted Tim Schafer to create a sequel to Psychonauts, which obviously never happened at that time. But then in 2015, there was crowdfunding, which got them $3.8 million to work on the game. And then Microsoft purchased Double Fine, which allowed them to continue working on Psychonauts 2 and just get a ton more resources. So some of the things that were added because of the extra time and money that Microsoft provided was they were able to build the game's big boss enemies, and they were able to ensure that the game had a wider suite of smaller foes to fight. So I mean, that's what they say are some of the things that the purchase allowed them to do, but I'm sure just the amount of time and resources that they gained from Xbox really allowed this game to be fully fleshed out in terms of graphics, in terms of the environment. We've seen already with the previews just how colorful the game is. They have probably more time to write stuff and just expand the overall story and have it less from point A to point B. But all in all, what this tells me is that yes, there are times when a big company can purchase a smaller studio and absolutely destroy them, but it seems like right now what Xbox is doing, what the purchases of the studios that they have been making, is they have allowed them to just kind of continue to make their games and provide them more resources, more money, more knowledge, more places to make games, more technology, all that kind of stuff that comes when you're purchased by such a massive company like Microsoft. And to me, this is a good thing because we may not have ever really gotten Psychonauts 2 if Microsoft didn't purchase them, or it may have just been a lackluster sequel to the game. They wouldn't have been able to really live out their entire creative dreams for what they wanted. Tim Schafer may not have been able to get everything into Psychonauts 2 that he had envisioned before they started working on it. And with the help of Xbox, Microsoft, and the resources, they were able to do that. And that's where these purchases can be very good. And the way that Xbox is doing things with their hands-off approach, from what they have been saying and from what we have been hearing, is going to allow for some of these companies, like if you think about it, like Obsidian with the next Outer Worlds, even with all the Bethesda studios. Yes, Bethesda was a massive company before purchase, but if you think about how big Bethesda was before, now how much more resources they have on top of all the other resources they already had, they can even go crazy with the games that they are making. And then you think about Ninja Theory with Hellblade 2 and just how much the resources is going to help with that game. And there's just so many things within the Xbox game studios that are going to be helped because of the extra resources. And if they continue to do things well, keeping hands off, allowing them to go through the creative process and take their time, I think we're going to see tons of amazing games come out this generation within the Xbox ecosystem. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Let me know what you think about the early results of the performance of Flight Simulator on the Xbox consoles, and let me know what you think about Psychonauts 2 and the game being bigger. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. If you're new here, you like what you see throughout this video, I'd really appreciate you hitting that subscribe button to help this channel grow and help grow this community, so we can have great conversations in the comments below. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for your support, and I'll catch you in the next video.